Recording.
I'd like to call the February 25th workshop meeting to order. Stand for pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
And to the republic which stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Provenza. Present. Ms. Yoder. Mr. Mayor Recupero.
Here.
President Suchovich.
Here.
Ms. Renzak. Present. Dr. Carpenter. Present. Mr. Demelis.
Present.
Mr. Long. You okay?
Are there any additional emergency agenda items? No. There's no registered comments from the public. I'd like to read this real quick again till we're working on a public comment policy. So until then, I'd like to read this just to reiterate. Borough Council welcomes public comment on agenda related items and issues that impact the community as a whole. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker to ensure that all voices can be heard and allow council to focus on agenda items. Public comment is not a forum for debate, personal grievances, or personal attacks on individual council members, borough staff, or the mayor. If you have a personal concern, such as an issue related to your property or a matter requiring discussion, please schedule a meeting with the borough manager, the president, or the mayor as appropriate for a more appropriate and effective conversation. Thank you for your cooperation in keeping the public comment constructive and focused on community-wide matters. Any comments from the public? Please come to the podium, raise your hand, and state your name and address.
It's 529 North Avenue.
Can you make sure that mic is?
It is.
Okay, so I just wanted to thank you guys for putting the mirrors up, but I did take a picture for you guys, one at night and one during the day, so you could see kind of what we see. Like the mirror, I mean, I don't have B vision, so like I cannot see the cars. And I just want you to see the bush, like you cannot see any cars coming up or down. I just wanted to show you guys so that you could actually see what I'm talking about. You guys can have these. And then I just have one question, and I'll be on my way. I just wanted to know who handles the 360 ordinance and updating them. Because I worked hard to have an ordinance change for cats, and I see it's not on there. And there's no ordinance for bushes listed, nothing.
I'm not sure who's in charge of it. Would that be Stephanie or would that be?
We are, but we're trying to find them all.
A lot of the ordinance we're going from file A to file B. Somehow they got misplaced. We're trying to recant what we have.
We are working on that. We have all the ordinances we have passed since I've been here. But there are some that we're still trying, that we know are there, but aren't signed or whatever. So we're trying to piece that all back together.
I was just like trying to make sure that, you know, if I come into an issue that I could call. I mean, typically, if I do call, I've had Barry call me quite a few times, and he's been very helpful, he knows. But I just wanted to make sure, you know, new officers are here in case I come into an issue.
Would you have any idea what
Year.
date, year? Yeah, do you?
Yeah, I have everything right now, so I can.
If you could send that to me, because like I said,
We
we are
go back to the
literally
minutes then.
trying.
It was about 5 years ago.
There's a whole bunch. There's ordinances and resolutions that either were not signed or that maybe got passed, but we don't know where the originals are at. So we're working on it.
You did?
Well, it was about animals in general. Cats were included. I started council in 2018. I was on the ordinance committee. We did a lot of ordinances in 18, some in 19. When COVID hit, priorities got switched around. So it's probably either 18 or 19. And they're all in the drawer in the file room there.
I don't think it was that far back.
Kelly, if you have any info around what
It's
year?
just about like non-fixed animals running around, so we can, you know. something
Understandable.
crazy.
I'm saying it's about the year wise, so we can
Yeah.
research, you know.
I don't know if I can find it here, but I can send you what we did.
Good.
And wait, regulations of domestic animals, it was
We had
it
chickens
three
and
up?
everything in there.
So maybe, okay. Like I said, we have an intern coming in this summer and that's one of their jobs is to re-puzzle that back together. So they will be going into 360.
All right,
Kelly, those pictures that you're showing, is that the one on Selden and?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just figured you could see what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Thank you.
It's the one on First and
yeah.
Ridge.
That's what I could
Council
say.
House.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
sorry,
what
I
I
didn't hear
could
the
say.
Selden, yeah.
That's what I meant
I knew
to
you're,
say.
yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening. Thank you for Becky Dow. When I approached the podium at the January workshop, I expressed 4 concerns along with 4 questions to council dealing specifically with the borough's finances and personnel. To date, there has been no discussion from council via the February meeting. So I'm wondering if they even been discussed in regard to my questions. I'm not sure if ignoring my questions is your MO or tactic for hoping that I will disappear, but that's not gonna happen. All it does is demonstrates council's lack of integrity, transparency, and most of all, accountability. I will return every month until I get answers. At the February business meeting, I was inspired by Councilman Jamelis, chair of the Personnel Committee, when he stated that the HR manager was going to be at the committee meeting on February 19th. I was anxious to hear who is this person, where did they come from, when was the HR position advertised, how many applications came in, how many individuals were interviewed, and more important, what is HR going to do for Verona that the borough management cannot do? With this in mind, I was very disappointed that the committee meeting was consumed by borough management. I don't understand why borough management was present if HR is its own entity. From observing the personnel committee meeting, it appears that the 2 positions are connected, and this is most definitely a conflict of interest since HR is developing employee evaluations. I did hear from borough management that council is spending finances beyond what has been adopted in the budget. This is in conflict with what the finance chair presents at business meetings. The public hears either all's good or nothing to report at this time. In 4 days, it'll be March, and the 2025 year will be 1/6 over. Is the budget going to cover expenses? Motion was made and passed by majority at the month's business meeting to hire a labor lawyer. No stated that it wasn't in the budget. My question is, why wasn't it in the budget? The topic has been on council's table in excess of a year, brought forth by Councilman Matlin, who resigned maybe in 2022, 2023, so it's been on your table that long. Was hiring an HR manager over a labor lawyer necessary for Verona Borough? In 2024, Pennsylvania State provided council with an evaluation. Part of that evaluation guided council in ways to save tax dollars. Is council investing any time in studying that data? Thank you. We want to eliminate that?
Well, I don't have the answers at the top of my head. I will say that, we did have our HR manager, our HR, consultant present at the meeting. We did have an agenda. Our borough manager was present at the time to go over, some of our policies and, you know, because some of those, the handbook and our, time off policies and that kind of stuff that, that we're developing, since our borough managers involved with our employees directly ever on a daily basis, you know, obviously, you know, she would be, she's an integral part of that on a daily basis, you know, with her time, you know, that kind of stuff. But I do understand what you're saying. So, noted, definitely noted. As far as the labor attorney is concerned, we did have a vote on that. We had it was a controversial topic. We had passed it. We had hired the labor attorney on an interim basis, not as part of the budget, only on an as-needed basis. For topics related to personnel issues, you know, on an as-needed basis, basically, you know, when we need him. That's the best answer I could give you, without going into specifics, because some of those topics involve personnel issues that I am not allowed to talk about publicly. Yeah, the budget, you know, we're working on it for next year, you know,
John,
there are.
I can speak on the budget if you'd like, I've been
Sure.
here since 2021. In 2020, I believe, our audit and somebody from Local Government Academy had uncovered that in 2017, somebody thought it would be a good idea to merge our sewer fund with our general account. And from 2017 until 2020, when it was caught, all the sewer fund money got spent. So we ended up being $600,000 in debt. And I could say who signed that if we would like.
I don't think we want to mention names.
I think we know who signed. So
Well,
our budget has been in turmoil since 2017, when the sewer fund was merged with the general account. And then the town spent all the money and we have to pay it back. So that's where we're at. And we've been paying it back.
almost 700,000, I believe.
Yes, and we've been paying it back in large chunks. So, yes.
$1,000.
And all that happened and the audit turned up, what, 2017? That's when that
I
happened?
believe so. That's what in my notes. And it, you know, and
You're military too.
we're faced, and a lot of boroughs right now are faced with pressures as far as maintaining their police forces, you know, their DPWs, all that stuff. It's hard to get police and maintain, and it's a tough environment out there right now, so. You know, the budgetary pressures are going to be there. So, you know, those are things we're really gonna have to stay proactive at as a council and as the residents too. We're gonna really be expecting everyone to stay active and involved in helping us to craft, you know, our budget for next year. Because we are going to be, you know, under a lot of pressure. You know, who knows what's gonna happen with funding, you know, on the federal level, on the state level, you know, as far as grants and that kind of stuff.
I will
So-
add that,
Yeah,
we're doing a pretty good job and we have a grant announcement tonight. Also, Tracy Holst, was in the budget. She is a pretty niche consultant, specifically focusing on HR issues within local municipalities and have worked with several municipalities. But yes, Stephanie acquired several other companies to do comparable work in which we reviewed and selected her as the best among the pool. Part of the reason why the labor attorney was so controversial is yes, as you pointed out, it was not originally budgeted for. Perhaps it should have been, however, we don't anticipate the cost exceeding what we can easily cover with our general fund. In regards to the STMQ report, if you recall last fall, we did do a survey in which we ranked these items. Stephanie has started working on some of the low-hanging fruit from that list, but my committee is charged with looking at that in more depth strategic planning. If you'd like, I'd like to invite you to attend that.
Anybody else?
Can I ask the question? I guess
No,
not.
no, you're not allowed.
Oh, I'm
You can
not.
come up to the podium.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay.
You gotta be all in.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you gotta state your name and address and
It's good. I know that. Leslie Bergamasco, 569 North Avenue, Verona. What I was curious about was what you said about being in the whole 700,000. Is that why we are paying Oklahoma Water Authority along with the garbage?
no.
I thought that was maybe to get out of the hole.
What had
That is-
happened,
Just asking.
what had happened, when the sewer budget was enacted, Rhoda can attest to it, she was the major bringing that in. When we get the check from Oakmont Water, when they went to Oakmont Water to collect the sewer fund, people was paying their bills to Oakmont Water. Oakmont Water would send us a check, I don't know if it was monthly, quarterly. We were getting the money. We put it in the general account, the council at the time did, put it in the general account and didn't realize that it had to be showed on the line items. So they were just using that money to pay their bills,
Anything.
to pay the borough's bills, correct?
They were still paying the sewer bills, they just, what was any excess?
But I was just thinking now, is that why we merged with
No.
We
sewer
merged.
water to get out of
For
this?
this, no.
Just asking.
That,
So we're
here's what I
paying-
can tell you, that fund, that sewer fund does not take, the money we owe to that sewer fund comes personally out of the general fund or out of expenses that are created, you know, whether it be administrative wise, because we do a ton of work for the, you know, and all that kind of stuff, DPW, anytime there's sewer work done. That, but the sewer fund
We
is
can
a
deduct that.
completely separate entity now from the general fund. It is its own fund. The reason that garbage was moved there was because county hauling no longer wanted to be responsible for billing because it was becoming an issue. So that's how, so when we recontracted, that was part of the deal, was we cannot, unfortunately, with two of us, you're talking about 2,300 garbage bills that have to go out. And Oakmont Water would do the billing for us along with the water billing.
No, I just.
That's the reason it's like that.
All right.
So we're down to, from the 700,000 or however much it was, we're down to owing that sewer fund back 136,000 in 4 years.
I can tell you that
3 years.
the day I got, at 11/23/2022 was the day I started the first budget here. We were $509,000 in the hole of the sewer fund. By 11/22/23, we were $475,000 in the hole. As of last year, at the end of last year, we were at 219,000. As of last Wednesday, we were at $139,522.
It's coming down. Okay, just curious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leslie, I don't know if this is related to your inquiry, but I just want to state on the record, I know one criticism of merging these two is the large quarterly payment. So everyone knows it is possible to make a monthly payment. If you talk to Oakmont Water, you can make monthly payments.
That wasn't my issue. I just thought if that combination was paying off that debt. Oh, no.
No,
I
no,
pay my bills in full. Thank you.
that debt has
But I
been
appreciate that.
paid down by the general fund and expenses that we can write off to it.
Another reason, let me speak.
Yeah.
Another reason we chose to do that, and it was Rhoda's idea. We had a problem in town with a lot of unpaid garbage bills. and there was just garbage piling up in the streets. Merging it with Oakmont Water, if you don't pay your garbage bill, they will shut your water. So
We
it
had
keeps,
so
it
much
keeps
garbage
garbage
laying
out
around.
of the streets. People will pay their garbage bill now to keep their water on, and it saves us having to worry about paying to dispose.
We also had a lot of complaints from some residents about the way County Holland was billing.
Yeah.
I mean, they were screwing up a lot of bills.
And yes, we took it out of their hands also, so.
Yeah, that
I had
was,
people, I've had personally, I've had
Me too.
some bad experiences.
So it seemed like a
Yeah,
good decision all around
Yeah.
for many.
Okay.
And there's been some couple comments about Oakmont Water, how they bill. Send the bills out, but Stephanie's been working with them and a couple residents to get it all rectified. It's all, we're finally working out.
it makes that amenable.
Anybody else? Don't see no virtual hands.
I feel like because I understand that, the comments that came up a few minutes ago were, when looking at a budget and looking at where things were at was based on what I make here. I can tell you that I work here full-time. I'm on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to the point where people think it's okay to give out my personal cell phone to the media. I have made sure that your sewer fund has been paid off. I work on the budget. Had I known anything about a labor attorney, which we kind of talked about it, kind of not, maybe it would have made it into the budget. But never once, whether anybody in this room or anybody on this committee, I truly am here to make sure that Verona wins, and the things I'm most proud about are all the grants that we are watching come through, 2 multimodals. Our roads are gonna get paved. Unfortunately, last year got held up a little bit in the county, but those are the things I'm proud of. And if you question what I do, please call me and I will walk you through any one of my days. So
Why is it about you, though? It's not about you.
This isn't a debate. Everybody had their chance to
Yeah.
speak.
She talks the whole time.
So. No other comments? Comments from the advisory boards, we have nothing. We have the next thing is committee. We have the committee goals. I'm gonna just talk real quick on committee goals. Our committees meet every once a month, or if there's nothing going on, they don't meet. We have a list here. We just want to make sure that everybody's doing their committee, whatever they need to be doing. If there's any questions they have, what they want, they can talk to Trish or myself, and we can go over it with them. In the stamp program, there was talk about a super committee. Instead of the 6 committees we have, that's something that we're looking into. Trish, do you have anything to add?
I can touch more on it under my report,
Okay.
but we want to make sure that we're reviewing these regularly as a whole. And everyone's on the same page and we're moving the same direction regarding our established goals.
Anybody have any comments on that? Okay, next up, back in February 8th of 2022, there was 2 policies on communications. One to call the borough solicitor and one to call the borough engineer. That's getting out of control again. If anybody needs to call the solicitor or the engineer, they go through Stephanie, the borough manager, and she gets a hold of them. We're getting bills for people calling from here, and it's getting a little out of control. If any one of us council people need to go call the solicitor, they have a question for the solicitor or the engineer, go through Stephanie, please. We can't keep reaching out to these guys on our own. Anybody have any comments on that or questions?
think we should actually duplicate one of these communication policies and.
For the labor law,
make it
yeah.
the-
Well, that's the same thing. It's the lawyer. So we talked about that, and making one for the labor.
Yeah.
attorney.
This just says general solicitor,
Right.
so. you can make
Sure.
one.
There was a question I have about that part D. It said, I gotta find that again.
On which one, John?
Part D on the,
Engineer or the lawyer?
no, on the attorney.
Solicitor, section 3, item
It's
D.
right behind the agenda. The first thing, I mean, is. You kept it in the right order.
I'm trying to look for it here. Let me see, okay. Part D. I'm gonna read it here. It says council members and mayor will not seek legal advice, recommendations, or information from other municipalities. So to me, I'm just, the way this is written, it's kind of vague because to me, it says we can't even go to ALOM. I mean, that would mean to me, we can't even get, if Campbell Durant, let's say, is making a presentation at ALOM, we can't even see that presentation.
I don't know if I don't know what that really exactly means. This was made back 3-4 years ago. That's why we're bringing this up. If
Yeah,
there's
that
questions, we want to redo
Right.
this.
That doesn't, to me, it's like almost like a gag order here for me, like I can't. Because, and that would mean council mayors and the council members and the mayor. And seek advice. Now I'm saying legal advice, right, so as pertaining to a specific legal matter. Pertaining to the borough, yes, we don't want to go outside.
When this was made, I believe it was just because everybody was calling them. And this is the list they come up with.
Okay.
If people go over this list, and if we go over this list and there's things we want to amend
Yeah.
or whatever, we can do that. That's why
we
we printed this out.
Solicitor,
That's why we printed this out. So
yeah.
just recently, we had people calling us the engineer. So we can't be doing that.
John.
We're not gonna nitpick every single little thing.
Well, I'm
We
just
can
saying,
look
it's just very vague, it's just
I
like,
understand that.
it's just saying that. It's almost as if we can't talk to any municipality or we can't go to,
Well, that's what we're saying.
you know,
Have a list of questions and
Right.
because we have to add one for the labor lawyer.
right.
So I was thinking about that today when I was rereading that in preparation for tonight. My recollection, since I was on council then, is it's not intended to be a gag order, but to limit individual council members all seeking, say, the advice of the Penn Hills Borough Manager in a formal way. So to prevent us all 7 going to him with the same blowing up his email, because honestly, it doesn't reflect well on our municipality. We should be more organized in our approach, but certainly if you see him or someone else at ALOM or at another event, you should feel free to talk to them as you would casually any acquaintance or someone in your network. But you
Yeah,
should.
I'm just saying, we have to differentiate between
Agreed.
a specific legal matter pertaining to the borough versus a general question related to like a process. If we're doing like, if it's something related to like the way something DPW does or whatever, I should be able to call,
Understandably,
right?
Speaking
Yeah.
of,
Sure.
these policies were put in place by our former manager, Christine Durant. And they were for tracking purposes, so she could track billable hours to the budget. And she also did it to save time, because we had council members calling other municipalities or asking questions today long that she already knew the answers to. So people were spinning their wheels and writing emails, and she was saying, why don't you just ask me? I could answer that question.
Okay,
So that's why this says, it's not saying that you can't contact them.
okay,
It's saying that always use your at-home resources first. So instead of reaching out to another municipality first, ask Stephanie first, ask Teresa first,
okay.
ask Jerry or officer in charge or the DPW.
It's just
They might be able to
confusing the way
answer
it's
the
written.
question before
Yeah.
you reach out.
That's all.
Anybody else have any questions?
Which committee is going to work on editing? Or we all working?
I think what we do is we all look at it and bring it back to a regular meeting or the next workshop. And say, here's what I suggest, or here's what and then we'll put it into committee. Next up, last thing I have is we had an executive session on Thursday, February the 20th of this past year for personnel and legal issues. Next up will be the mayor.
Yeah, I have a couple things. I actually have two other additional things that came up, just recently. The resident on, North Avenue at 530 North Avenue is, they have a handicap, sign, which everything is in order. They're moving to, Penn Street. And they asking the sign to be moved for the street department.
It's already done.
Okay, thank you. The other thing that came up, I guess it was, another meeting from the chambers last night. They were discussing some finances, and we talked about the banners, Stephanie, the veteran banners a while ago. Duquesne Light said we could put them on the poles. And
I don't think Duquesne Light said we could put them on.
Duquesne Light gave us the information we needed. The chamber will need to contact Duquesne Light and
Okay.
get the rest of the approval, but we got the contact and everything for them.
okay, and it was also brought up, once we do get the approval, we're gonna, there's actually 24 on the waiting list right now for the banners. And we were talking about putting them on going up Center Avenue and Jones Street, going down highly visible, roads at this time, because the boulevard front and back is already filled up.
See how many we can get, let's see how many polls and, well, that's up to the chamber.
Right, right. All right, just, okay, so we'll get the chamber to move on that with Duquesne Light. Is there a contact name?
I'll forward it to you.
Okay, thank you. The other thing too, tomorrow, Dan T.E., the fire chief, and Mark Springer, emergency management. We're gonna meet at my house and go over a few things on emergency management, some upcoming things. One of them would be, well, I lost my train of thought. One of them I know is, the ice up the river. I believe it's still up there at Brady's Bends. It's about 5-6 miles.
Still building.
Yeah, it's still building and it can let go at any time, and we've all seen what happens when it does let go. And the other thing that I want to bring up is some type of warning system for tornadoes. It's kind of unheard of, here in Western Pennsylvania, but it's inevitable, as we seen last year down at Highland Park, where there was a tornado hit, and my son was actually in that, and he says that he didn't believe everything was going up in the air. All the debris was flying up in the air. He was in front of it, I guess. But anyways, so we're going to discuss that, and I'll have a report, what we come up with. And the other thing is Selden Avenue has been brought up a couple times at 408, that house. Did this, and I know you said the last meeting, the police, it was a police matter, but actually, I guess it isn't. The officer was there. Has the code enforcement
Code
officer?
enforcement has not been there, but Matt has called them, and it is part of the county. It is not a business, it's another one of the homes, and Matt has talked with owners.
Okay, the officer said that when, I guess he had his body camera on, and they said they were running a business out of there.
It's a group home.
No, it's not.
That's what they told the engineer. And code enforcement can't knock on the door if there's no code issue.
Do they have a permit, the
They have
occupancy
everything,
permit?
from what Matt said, they had everything they needed to do what they said they were doing.
Okay. Yeah, because there's usually a lot of cars down there. I've rode past myself, and there has been quite a few cars.
You can personally talk to Matt, like I said, Matt personally called and talked to them.
Okay, that's all I have at this time. Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else have anything for the mayor? Next up, Borough Manager, Stephanie.
Updated fee schedule. We are working on the fee schedule right now to update the building permits. We're changing to CEA. And we will be adding an administrative fee on a sliding scale because Teresa spends a lot of time making sure all those go out. We will also be highlighting late fee penalties, especially for those people who put in dumpsters and then we catch them with the dumpsters, then need a permit. So there will be an increase in that fee. And we would ask that the committees review the fee schedule, check any fees that they see and get them to us before the workshop meeting so we can get it updated. And hopefully the first draft with the building permit information changes at mid-seeks will be ready for you guys to review on March 11th. So you guys will have that for your committee meetings. US Open, the signs have been ordered and will be replaced. ARB will be paid as for the crosswalks. Was under the assumption, as we talked to the state, that they will be doing those. Painting.
What signs you talking
Yeah,
about?
what sign?
The red and yellow, Trish asked that the red
Oh,
and yellow signs be removed to make them red and white,
Yeah.
so we went out and got those all replaced.
Yeah.
And we will review, the crosswalks and ARB once that's all completed.
I understand that the paving is gonna start, and they're gonna tar and chip from from up the boulevard to, off the rails. They're gonna pave from off the rails to College. That was my understanding.
That's mine too, so,
Oh, so they're gonna tar and chip from Washington?
I don't know where they're tarring and chipping from. They're gonna tar and chip up there, off the rails.
Oh,
they only give us, like, we know, like, it's by Giant Eagle, it'll be tar and chipped
Yeah,
all the way to off the rails, and then they'll begin
Sure.
paving it. And at the same time, there's that apron on South Avenue that's real screwed up, so that's we're gonna work on getting that repaved at the
It
same
kind of
time.
goes like that.
Yeah, we're gonna work on getting that repaved at the same time, and they're
Yeah.
also working on some drainage issues because a lot of businesses on one side of ARB drain on. That's all being done through the state.
Stephanie, if I recall from our walk audit, PennDOT will paint the crosswalks perpendicular to ARB, but not the two opposing. I hope I'm incorrect, but we may want to have.
If not, we will get those
Yeah.
done, but just, yeah, we'll make sure those get done. We'll just have to, the boys can come in at night. They already said they would do that if we needed them to.
As far as the drainage goes, we talking about the ones over by, off the rails there? There's one on each side?
No, we're actually talking about spout, if you look into the sidewalk, there's brown drains that come down.
Okay, could you have whoever, Matt, I don't know, I think it's Verona, right by off the rails, and there's a building right next to me, it used to be Calabrese.
that's a private train. We checked into that.
Really?
Yeah.
They both clog up when it really
That's
pours
a private
back.
train.
Okay, then what about the one, where you
One-
turn off?
The one across the street, Matt was supposed to get,
That one has been looked at, that one will actually be being repaired. It collapsed,
Yeah.
but the other ones will not be touched, those are private drains.
Oh, how do you know?
can they be asked to do anything to
Is
make
we-
them?
Well, hopefully,
Drain
once
network?
maybe we fix the issue where we have, maybe that will help the issue.
Yeah, because when it rains hard, that gets flooded
that's terrible.
both sides.
Yeah,
I'm sure
But
we will see.
Matt did all that and it's been looked at and, we were just waiting for the law.
So in terms of the paving, you probably don't know an exact date.
nope,
All they're saying is it'll be done
For the
by
open.
June 12th or whatever.
That'll
When
be
the
done,
open
it'll
is.
be done way before June 12th because the open starts.
I thought it was something like that.
I'm not sure, yeah, it's the beginning of June.
Yeah, it's June 9th is the first day of the open.
Hopefully we'll be done by then. It's gonna be a nightmare.
You don't get that much traffic.
Yeah.
We used to, they used to pay us for police,
But anymore, they bust them in,
Yeah,
all the traffic's up Oak one.
We haven't done anything to be open.
All those traffic bumps.
yeah.
Yeah, they bust them out of Hartwood, and then they bust them out of the Turnpike.
Yeah, so even when I was in Oakmont the first year and they got nothing.
Yeah.
Like, new restaurants opened up and everything and it was a go.
Those kind,
That's another question. Do we have any idea if the distillery or the new tavern's gonna be open by the?
He's open to,
I'm hoping the tavern will be. I can't guarantee you on the distillery. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was hoping that both of them would be, but you know, they can do what they can do.
Yeah, that's an issue, with building and what they can get done. Text My Gov starts March 3rd. If you were signed up onto our last texting service, you should get a text asking you to opt in. If you don't have the service, you can go to the webpage and it will show you how to sign up. The cool thing now, if you go on our webpage, there's widgets that are floating that will show you how to sign up. And then there's also a button that you can press that says, get updates, Text My Gov, that will show you how to do it. So, last but not least, as I stated in our last meeting, Lower Valley Ambulance Service wants to have an ambulance on the side of the bridge. During high levels of traffic, it's taking them 12 to 13 minutes to get across the bridge, and they just feel that's unacceptable. Right now, we would be looking at storing it in a third garage at DPW, and they would use the kitchen as where they would write their, reports and relax and stuff like that. It would be our hope we can work with Matt and maybe find a much better solution, but right now the third garage doesn't have heat. So we can't exactly move them in there right at this moment, so we have to figure some things out. Unless someone has a major issue, we will work on an MOU with LVAS. And the ambulance will be in Verona all week from 8 AM to 10:30 PM. So,
Will they help us out with any utility payments or
that's
anything
what I was
like
gonna
that?
ask. Is
because right now they really, I mean, they're going to be using the same part of the buildings that we're using. Let's see if it works. This is kind of a trial. If it works, then we will discuss that with them, which could mean us saying we could pay Lower Valley $15,000 for ambulance service, you say, instead of that, you give us, we give you the space.
Years ago, some of you remember Guardian Angels did that, and it was a great asset to the borough.
they use
because-
down in the old
Yeah,
borough garage?
Cause they were right here. And so, a lot of times it'd be two ambulances down there, even though they were,
Right.
just, but it was a value.
What's in the borough garage now, on the borough side? Do you have any idea?
Which borough garage?
The boat,
I do not know. The last I heard, the roof leaked.
It's
So-
leaked
does.
bad,
Leaks bad.
like.
but,
it's
I
got
mean,
very
that could, if that could be,
That could be a permanent solution. This is temporary to try to get this started. They're spending a lot more time on the side. So they're really trying to get something.
well, I'm curious as to how everybody knows the borough roof leaks. I'm just asking,
I saw it,
where's it leaking?
it was only leaking on one side,
Inside?
yes,
AJ told me it leaked.
and then,
You get somebody down there to look at it.
yeah, somebody said it's leaking on both
I
sides.
know where the boats are, it's leaking. I mean, because they were down there last week.
It
There was,
was only leaking on half of it, but I've since been told it's leaking on both sides.
And that's not something like Matt, we'll talk with Matt and try to figure something out, because like we said, there's not heat in the third garage, so that's really not the perfect situation.
There's not a heat in the garage on Arch either.
yes, there is.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
and there's an office, so if it.
There's an office and a bathroom.
So we can look at some other avenues, but right now, this is again, we're just trying.
Beginning stages.
Beginning stages, having an ambulance on this side of the river.
And I think honestly, I mean, for the next couple months is the major part to have it inside because of the weather.
My only question is if you got feedback from our officer in charge and our DPW.
Yes. Yes.
As long as they're-
They both know what's going on. There's enough room that DPW doesn't really have to do much to fix the garage. And, it's just an asset. I mean, it would be nice to be able to find them office space, but right now we just don't have that.
And the roof's done, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Looks nice.
Yeah, it looks good.
I'm gonna bring it up.
Yes, it's all done, completely paid for by insurance, and they did a wonderful job.
Yep. I have one question, Stephanie. Regulated rental, where are we at with that?
We are finishing them up as we speak. They were, a lot of them went out via, emails this year because of the programming we have, and some people got a little, didn't like the idea of paying it online and stuff like that, so we've been sending some out.
Okay.
They're coming in.
I knew she was working on it a little while ago. I didn't know who was.
Yeah, they're, basically now we're to the people who are like, can you send them to us, because
Okay.
we don't wanna.
Thank you.
Wanna pay it online.
Anybody else have anything for Stephanie? Okay, finance report?
You have the January finance report, it's basically year to date at whole, January is a really slow month for us, we brought in 106,883, expense 268, 185. But like I said, we don't start to see money coming in until March and April.
Very good, thank you. Next up would be Parks and Property, Mr. Floyd.
I have nothing to report this time because I reported it at our business meeting. And so our meeting takes place the day before.
Very good, thank you. Next up, Mrs. Provenza, Community Relations.
Yes, sir. There's going to be a webinar training that may interest my council. It's called Everything You Need to Know, But You Never Asked. And that's going to be on March the 12th, 12 to 1:30 p.m. So if anyone has an interest in that, yes, you can contact you.
They should always,
They can call direct.
everybody should have a PSAD, correct?
We probably all got that email, it was today or yesterday.
Yeah, I just got this today.
What time did you say? March 12th?
March 12th from 12 noon till 1:30 p.m.
I guess people don't work, no? That's a Wednesday.
Yes.
Sylvia, could you repeat the title,
Pardon me?
the title of the course
Yes, everything you need to know but never asked.
about,
Public Relations 101,
thank you.
Oh, there we go.
sorry.
Yeah. We'll figure out something about that, for sure.
If you're interested, you may want to sign up for this.
Sounds beneficial.
There is a member rate, it's $45. A non-member is 80. If you're with PSAB plus members, those are free of charge.
You're not plus members, but we're all PSA.
Right.
Yes, we're all PSA, you guys are all PSAB members, and they will invoice us.
And our next meeting, we're going to be talking about the rules for public comment. I know it's been brought up already, but we as a committee, we're going to talk about it. So, okay. And our next meeting will be on third Monday.
Yes, March 17th.
March 17th. No, I wanted to make sure, I'm correct. Yes, March 17th, 6 p.m.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Yes, sir, you're welcome.
Next up, Finance Committee, Mr. Long.
He can't speak, so,
Oh.
and we ended up going over the 2024 year-end review. The big thing was the sewer fund. If you have any other questions, right now, everything that's written here was just to give you an example of what we budgeted and where we ended, where we actually ended, but understand it's all unaudited. Our audit should be sometime in May.
Very good, thank you.
Can I just ask one quick question? And I can ask other questions, later, tomorrow, whatever. I'm assuming from my math, this paper that you gave us, bank balances as of January 31st.
Oh, you're going back.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, you went back.
Anyway, you're taking the second column and subtracting the first column from the second column, and that's how you're getting those figures.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the only way it would work, because you're comparing 25 and 24.
Right, as of the same time
Yes.
of the year. There's some interesting comparisons there.
I will tell you, if you're looking at comparisons, the general fund is much lower. But remember, 200,000 was dropped into the capital fund. 100,000 went to the sewer fund, and 100,000 went towards police pensions. So that lowers that number. So that's why there's that gapping difference there.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? Okay, next up, public safety, Dr. Carpenter.
Thank you. Okay, so, I had my public safety committee meeting on Tuesday, February 18th at 5:30. And we talked about all the usual things. I just want to remind everyone again, our CPR certification class, which I verified today, is associated with the American Heart Association. That's where you get your certificate from. It is on Saturday, March 22nd from 10 to 2. The cost is $30, and the cutoff to register is March 14th. So they have almost 20 people registered at this point, but they can take up to 50. So anybody who's interested or anybody you know who needs their certification, please let them know. And then sometime a few months down the line, we may do a similar kind of thing with a first aid class and do it together with RCAC again and use their facility. They have a nice room too. People have been asking about that first aid class. The other things that we discussed during the meeting, just in general, again, went over all of this situation with the police and, you know, how we can possibly get some more grant money. Fire, there wasn't much update on that. Code enforcement. So I just want to let people know that I also drove around the area where these bushes are. And Kelly's picture is accurate. Those are actually grasses that grow in the summer. Everybody has their own preference, I guess. Some people like it when they grow up and they have the fluffy stuff on the end. I think she may be using it for privacy and things like that. It is true though, it's very hard to see around the end bush. I personally have mine cut down in the fall to a nub. And believe it or not, they grow that tall just in the summer. So I don't know what exactly, I know that for hedges, we have an ordinance that says 6 feet. That's not really a hedge. I'm not sure what to do about that, but it is difficult to see. I did look at the mirror.
I think in the summertime, they actually grow out into the road.
Do they?
Yeah, I think they kind of grow
Yeah.
out.
They start to fall down.
Yeah, I'm not sure what because, you know, it's her private grasses on her private property, but it's a issue with being able to see around that corner. I mean, I experienced it. I went up there, been there a couple of times. I did use the mirror. But nobody was coming up, so it was hard for me to tell how well they work. But it is there, and the other mirror is at the other spot. And that one I thought was very effective, the one on Second. It just, to me, was very easy would be very easy to see if somebody was coming up. And then I spent some time researching, as it has to do with how to slow people down on Selden and on Ridge. We talked about maybe, could we make that one part of Ridge from First to Selden be one way, but then which way should they go? You know, which way should we make it? Do we need a traffic study? And so we're looking into all of that. I was doing some training online today, and they were talking about humps and bumps and cushions and another thing in Aspinwall, they have rumble strips, which isn't, you know, maybe not slow people down as much because it's not a physical like hump, but it certainly brings your awareness to your speed, but people might not like them because it might be noisy. So, but we're just throwing around ideas and trying to come up with the best answer. I will say something I discovered, which I never knew before, was that, you know, let's say this is the road. This is the one of the road. And you put a hump or a bump all the way across, then everybody has to go, including trucks and ambulances. Well, let's say you had a speed cushion that is only this wide. A car, at least half of the car would have to go over the cushion, but it's not as wide so that vehicles that have a wider wheelbase could skip the thing altogether, and then a truck or an ambulance or whatever, you know, wouldn't be potentially damaged, or if it's an ambulance and they're in a hurry, they might, they can buy, they don't have to slow down for the hump. It's mostly for the cars. Anyway, just ideas, things that we're looking into. And my next meeting is going to be on March 18th, Tuesday at 5:30 by Zoom or in person. Oh, one other thing I want to let people know, I did contact local technical assistance program and put in a request. They said something about it taking 40 days. I don't know, we'll see. I don't know at that point whether we'll need them or not, but I said I would do that, and so I did it. So, anyway, next meeting, March 18th. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up will be Strategic Planning Committee, Mr. Edzak.
Thank you, Mr. President. One day you'll get my name correct.
That's probably Trish.
Those of you who were here will recall at the last business meeting, we were talking about one of the recommendations from the SCND report, which is to consider moving to a super committee structure, which will have the advantage of reducing meetings, increasing transparency with the public, and a slew of others. So I wanted just to, since my committee members have kind of informally explored this to the extent possible, there's not a ton of resources on it, but we thought we could just explore this idea a little bit further with all of council. So currently, as I think everyone is aware, we have 2 business meetings per month with the exception of December, which we only have the business meeting. And then other months, we also have our workshop meeting, and each committee meeting is generally once per month. Each council member chairs one committee meeting and then is also represented on 2 other committees. And so there are a lot of meetings. So one suggestion that a member of the public brought up to me is perhaps we would continue that maybe figure out a way to include the public on some of our committees in which their expertise may be valuable. So that is one thought. A second idea, which I've kind of suggested we explore this year, since we did just advertise our individual committee meetings, which is a hybrid approach in which we revisit this list at every workshop meeting and just talk about it in a little bit more in depth with one another and the public, while still continuing on our individual committee meetings, at least through this year. So that is the hybrid idea. And again, we could still consider ways to perhaps, if not this year, appoint the public as officially members of these committees to perhaps at least incorporate some additional public comment or back and forth during the times in which we're discussing these committee topics. A third idea is to consider adding a third meeting, bear with me. So this would be in lieu of all of our committee meetings. We would have a council business meeting, workshop meeting, and then a super committee meeting, which we would explore the committee topics in more details at a meeting dedicated to that because we do have workshop topics at workshop meeting and we don't really like meetings that go 5 hours. In all these cases, we would definitely want the opportunity to include the public more and in a way that is more back and forth so the public is engaged in these topics. more so than they are currently. Currently, the public generally talks at the beginning and the end of the meeting, but not during in which a topic is being discussed. So I just wanted to lay all that out and see if council had any thoughts on how we might proceed this year or in the future.
Well, those are a lot of good ideas. Not to sift through.
I think we should. Did you save all your local government academy stuff? I know it's a binder like this thing.
I saved it electronically, so I don't have the binder like you.
They talked at length about committees and every presentation that they had or every speaker that I supported to said it was a bad idea to allow public being members of committees. Because then it gets into ad hoc committees and then it gets messy and I could be wrong, but I would revisit the part from Local Government Academy where they talked about committees and structures of committees, because I believe they specifically steered us away from that's only one of the 5 ideas you had. Like,
If we do go to super committee though, they could still be there because it's.
yes,
Yeah, so.
yes. No, but
Just not putting them on a
adding-
committee. I see.
adding members of the public to a normal committee as a committee member, then you get into ad hoc committees, and then you get into having to write bylaws for those committees, and what happens when somebody doesn't show up for half a year or they still on that committee. It's just,
Messy.
they steered us away from it. So I'm not saying it can't be done, I'm just saying you might want to revisit that because there's a lot of it regarding that.
But the goal would still be to encourage public participation.
Yes, sure.
Absolutely.
One,
Yes, they would still
Residents
be
are nice.
there, it would just, they just wouldn't be a committee member, they wouldn't, because then you have. Like people who aren't actually on the committee making agendas or not making agendas, and it's,
Understood.
That could be a slippery slope.
Mhm.
yes,
Thoughts on third meeting?
no. I like the original super committee, like just.
Mhm.
Cause I thought the whole. Gist of it was. Decrease the amount of meetings, and if you add another meeting,
Yeah,
Yeah, but we wouldn't be having the other.
but you wouldn't be having the other 6 meetings,
Right.
so you'd be away from 3 meetings.
We would only have 3 meetings a month.
It's
if
something,
that's the case, then.
it's something to look
yes.
into,
But
this is just the infamous stages of it.
I thought she said. In
No,
addition to-
No.
No.
So you'd have your regular business meeting, workshop, and then a super committee meeting.
I could,
Which would cover everything.
That'd cover all 6 committees.
So we would still need to have each person be kind of focusing in one area.
Right.
Well,
Like
you could
if
sit
they
there.
were on a committee, but the other 2 people on the committee, we're just all part of one big committee.
so the super committee and the workshop would be the same,
Well,
couldn't we just call them both workshops and
Or we could just keep it,
put half of them on one and half of them
or
on
we
the
could
other?
just keep the workshop meeting. That's what we're doing now.
Yeah, we could keep,
So
but
you
I'm
could-
saying, instead of calling it a super committee meeting, when you're gonna have public safety, finance, and public relations in the first, but I'm hypothetically speaking, the first workshop, and then the second workshop would be the other 3. Right,
We could do it a lot of ways. If there was workshop topics, maybe it's not everyone reports every super committee meeting, but we have a deep dive, so it's long, there's our strategic planning and there's finance and participation, so.
because it would be a rather long meeting to go
Right.
over 6 basic
Yeah.
areas.
but.
But there are a lot of areas where they overlap.
And you can still have your 3 committee people on each committee, but just,
Yeah.
you meet once.
Yeah, but we'd be one committee, but I also wanna just say. A super committee meeting would eliminate all of this. All this stuff about we wouldn't do. We would just start by doing the committee, so we would wipe out half an hour to 45 minutes worth of stuff.
Okay.
There would still have to be public comment and ideas. And then we'd have to be very, you know, lasered in what we're talking about, I would guess.
Yeah.
In order to get through 6 committees. The meeting might be a little long, but it's like one long meeting or 3 other meetings.
Correct, right.
So,
I mean, I don't have a problem with doing just a regular workshop and do it all one night.
Yeah,
oh, that'd be too.
it sounds like we're kind of leaning into that for this year is like a hybrid approach, but something to keep in mind for future years.
If you go to Dharma,
Yeah.
that's different committee. And stuff.
Do you know if they have
Thank
one,
you.
do you know if they have 3 meetings or how they do, do you know, or? You're not sure.
I just happened to pop on, it looks like they do it once a month.
I know someone on council I can ask.
Dormont, so do they record it?
Yeah, they have a video, and they're about 2 hours, it looks like.
That's not that bad.
It's
To
pretty
eliminate all
Having
those
action
other meetings?
items, I think
Yeah.
it'd be fine.
Right, should.
Yeah, to eliminate all those other meetings?
The only thing you might have is minutes or bills.
Yeah.
Or like
There's
tonight,
nothing really with council meetings, but we'll say, well, that's a business.
Right.
Right.
Not have any action items, that way
Right,
you can.
Yeah.
Be free to discuss whatever you want,
Yeah.
not be held by discussion.
I'm just, I'm a little confused, because they have subcommittees, so I'm not sure how.
we'll have to look into it,
Yeah, I'll look into that. We're back.
work in progress.
Okay, thanks everyone for that feedback. On possibly restructuring and making that more efficient into the future. The second item on this for tonight was the Verona Oak Plum Penn Hills Trail update. So we are.
Can you hold on 1 second, please? Leanne, we see you and we missed you earlier. We will get to you under public comments, and we apologize for missing you earlier. Did you hear us? Leanne, you there?
yeah, she took her hand down.
Okay. Sorry about that. I just wanted to get her hand go up.
No, thank you, appreciate it. Actually, let me pick up by saying is, the next monthly VOP steering committee meeting is this Thursday. If anyone else would like to join,
What time?
Stephanie and I let us know, 2.
2 o'clock.
We have been in a bit of a holding pattern since Representative Joe McAndrews suggested a new route that was not originally considered in the plan nor included in the VOPS feasibility study. So we believe that the appropriate next steps, and this is what Representative McAndrews has requested, is a meeting with members of VOP, Friends of the Riverfront, Allegheny Valley Railroad, Oakmont, Parks and Rec, and their manager, as well as our manager, Parks and Rec, and whoever from council would like to attend, as long as it's not a forum, to just discuss this alternative and make sure that everyone is in support of this alternative. In which case he will then go forward with talking to the businesses to see if that is something that they would be on board with. So just to recap, the alternative would be down Arch Street, and then down James, and then West Railroad, so skirting by the businesses there, and then traversing into Oakmont that way. So a more scenic approach. It was also suggested that we redo that portion of the feasibility study since this route was not originally considered. And we had a very expensive proposal that was discussed 2 meetings ago. Can't remember.
2.
It was approximately $100,000. So Vince suggested that we see if our in-house engineer and his company would be capable of doing a comparable feasibility study. He said yes, and it is, I'm happy to report, 1/10 of the price that the other company would. So if that sounds reasonable to everyone on council, he can proceed with a formal proposal from his company. But that is the update with VOP. Does anyone have any questions about that path forward?
The new proposal was coming up through the railroad, not on West Railroad, not on East Railroad.
Yeah, that's what he said, all the way down.
Okay, I thought you just set up East Railroad.
No, West.
She set up
West
James,
Railroad.
West Railroad. I mean.
West Railroad, then onto the private road.
Okay, I thought she said East Railroad. My bad, I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, you just asked for the will of council.
Yeah.
I think $9,000 to $10,000, a lot better than $125,000. whether grant money or not, if we got, a matching grant, 10 or 15%, the grants for $100,000, we're still paying 10 grand, and that's one less
That's-
grant we can apply for somewhere else. And $10,000 is something that we could pay for out of our capital fund even,
We
right?
also have the, park planning grant, so as that should be part of that park planning grant, because that's gonna take into that, so you can use that money too, because that would be.
So you're just asking if he can draw up a proposal.
Yes, are we all on board with that plan?
Tim? Yeah, Johnny? Nancy? Yeah. Trish? Myself, yes, David, Vince, Sylvia?
All right, I'm gonna share the update of the Box Steering Committee on Thursday. Again, let me know if you'd like to attend, and then we'll move forward with Representatives McAndrew's staff and scheduling that meeting for the parties of interest.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I forgot to list it, but I mentioned previously, I'm an invited speaker to the National Main Street Now Conference, which is being held this year in Philadelphia. So I will be representing Verona, giving a lecture on path of transportation as a catalyst for small town revitalization. So my cost less transportation is covered as part of that. And hopefully I will have a draft next workshop to share with everyone. My strategic planning committee meeting will next be held on Wednesday, March 19th at 4 p.m. in person and on Zoom. That is all.
Very good, thank you. Stephanie, did you want to mention about the multimodal? Everybody forgot to mention that.
We received a multimodal grant. This is the second one we received. The first one was Active Transportation to do the sidewalks to the parks, which will be starting this summer. We were just awarded $186,000 to work on Arch Street, which will help with bike trail, walking, paving, and some revitalizing things.
Property?
Yeah.
And taking care of that part of the road.
Yeah.
That's all gravel and potholes.
Yes.
Down to their parking lot.
So we'll stop at the parking lot.
And Still City.
Still City Road.
Very good.
They'll stop at the parking lot, yeah.
And
It's the entire length of Arch, correct?
Part of Arch is already part of the grant.
But I mean, that's what will be getting paved is
Yeah,
from,
Arch will be completely done. Yay. So, Arch will be completely done.
Thanks to Representative McAndrew
Yes.
and the people that helped him get the information, Stephanie, I think Trish and Vince was involved.
And
with all
Matt.
that. And it worked out good. $186,000 is a nice amount of money. Thank you, Joe McAndrew.
Yes.
Sorry for the interruption.
No.
Next up will be Personnel Committee, Mr. Jamelis.
Thank you, Mr. President. First up, I wanted to update on our hiring on the police. The Personnel Committee had interviewed a officer last week with Vince, officer in charge, Francos was there, Sylvia, the mayor, went well. And we are going to present a motion here tonight, a conditional motion pending the background check and the completion of his paperwork to hire this officer. Just wanted to update that for part-time, I should say. So we also had the personnel committee meeting on the 19th. Last week. And we had present the HR consultant along with our borough manager in our committee. And we had discussed our HR projects, including our handbook, performance review policy, disciplinary procedures, time off policies. Our handbook is almost complete. We are crafting the performance reviews and we're also working on our I should say the job descriptions as well. I forgot to add that. There's also, we had discussed, professional development and training. We're also looking into one issue that we've been having, I think, and in the last year, I know that we've had a lot of disagreements, among council. Some hot button topics. And, we were discussing ways we could kind of improve our relationships amongst, each other. We're talking about team building exercises and, so we were possibly discussing on, setting up a, team building exercise on a Saturday morning sometime. Maybe doing a meeting, a get together. Tracy's gonna try to set that up, so we're working with her on that. We had discussed, touched on, the retention bonus program for police officers. Again, that's for next year, so we're not gonna do that this year. The budget's been it's already done.
Johnny, something to think about on that.
Yeah,
I was told from someone that there are grants out there. I
yes,
forget who the grants are through,
through PCCD.
for the retention and signing bonuses, something to look into. So
Yes.
it doesn't come out of our budget.
Yes.
If we get those grants, that would be a big
That's
help.
correct. Yeah,
So, I
we
know
are going to be,
that was brought to my attention.
yes, we need to be proactive on that. I know, I think they get updated in May of every year. From what I
I know,
understand,
Stephanie, if you heard anything about that,
They come up again in May.
so,
we could look into that.
yeah,
It'd be nice if we get some grant money for that'd save our budget.
well, yeah, and, when, again, we're in a situation. It's a nuclear arms race right now with the money.
Yeah.
For the salaries and pension bonuses and benefits. And it's hard, we're not the only borough that's facing this, it's a dilemma across the country. And, but we're looking into just trying to stay with the pack. And I know we're gonna be faced with challenges next year, and I know it's gonna be, something we're gonna have to discuss with the budget as we're, crafting that next year. So we're all gonna have to work together and, be proactive and look at how we're going to approach that. As far as just retaining our officers and recruiting our officers. And as well as our other workers, in Verona Borough. The other topic I wanted to bring up was the controversial topic of this evening. So the hiring process, I know that, what we've been doing, we've been interviewing full-time police officers ourselves with our committee. I know we've been doing that for years. But from what I understand, and from what I've seen from other boroughs, I've spoke with other boroughs. We've also discussed this with I don't know if I can say it, we've discussed this with our labor attorney. And we've suggested that we should be turning this process over to the Civil Service Commission. The applications should be going to them. The interview and testing process should be going to them. We do have the final say as far as who gets hired, who doesn't, but they do the initial screening. They should be doing the testing. They should be doing the they had, and actually other boroughs, what they do is they bring in 3 police chiefs from different boroughs. And they do the oral examination. Basically, that's the interview. And they have a that's basically the oral examination is a weighted test, oral test, basically, and they score it. And it's basically each officer gets a score, and whoever gets the highest score is the highest person on what they call an eligibility list. And whenever a borough is looking for an officer, let's say, and they say, hey, we want to hire somebody, okay? They say, we want to hire a new officer. And they'll present that to the Civil Service Commission. The Civil Service Commission will advertise it. The applications would go to the Civil Service Commission. They would start the process of interviewing and screening the candidates and doing all the testing and everything. And then they develop the top 3 people on this eligibility list. And they pick the best one out of the 3, and they present them to the board for consideration for hire. That's how that's typically done. And that's actually in the Pennsylvania Borough Code. What do you guys think?
I'm a fan because it sounds like it has the opportunity to further streamline the process and civil service can involve with the testing. And as you mentioned, it's in the borough code and a lot of other municipalities are doing it, so it seems like something that we should explore.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
You said that a lot of places will have 3 different chiefs from different towns doing it. What will guarantee that they don't poach any of our applicants?
They shouldn't.
I know they shouldn't,
Yeah.
but can they?
I talked to the police chief.
I mean, that's a big issue. If we get really good applicants that come in here, and then there's 3 other police chiefs from 3 different towns, and they say, man, that's a really good applicant. And then they offer him $4,000 a year more than what we're offering, we're gonna lose a lot of applicants.
I don't think they would do that, because I talked to the chief in Penn Hills, and he says he constantly does that. And what I had brought up to John is I would like to get the Oakmont chief, which I haven't talked to yet. Penn Hills chief, being that we're, neighbors, so to speak, in mutual aid, and one chief that's retired. He worked in a small town, he was a chief, then he went to a very large community like one for Penn Hills. And so it'd be all, all 3 of them would be neutral on that.
Yeah, that would be my question, is there any protections against?
They just do it, I mean.
Officers, are people that we're interviewing in this building or in our town being poached by other towns?
And I talked to Craig about this, he says that's very common that they, that the chiefs interview them.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't hear anything.
They would actually, and sometimes they have chiefs from other jurisdictions, from other places, where they would bring them from. They would pay to bring them in from, they wouldn't even be in the locality.
that would be my next question.
So they would pay to bring them in, and they would,
Do we have to pay to bring them in? Do we have to pay them?
But they would conduct it, but they would,
It's voluntary.
that's if you have a finalist. You would
And
bring them in if you have a
the
finalist.
reason why I would say Oakmont and Penn Hills, because
Yeah.
we have mutual,
Sure.
backup with them.
Sure.
And they would know, if they want their guys
But
to,
this is a process that I think we should probably look at. I mean, this is something. It's in the borough code.
we've had
I mean,
full-time.
we've been doing it
Go ahead and do it. I mean, it's not really something we should look into. We need to, we need to implement that as soon as possible.
Yeah, so we probably should be looking to get guidance on it and maybe fine tune it.
I was also looking at the civil service training that we discussed a couple of meetings ago. And again, thanks Steph for sending that out, very packed with information.
It is so interesting. I believe in part two.
Yeah, it's in part two of that.
Midway through, the guy is talking about exactly this, and this is how you're supposed to. I didn't know this, but I agree with that we should, if we're gonna look into it, let's look into it quickly.
Oak one does it, my
Yeah.
friend, I have a friend on the force in Munhall, and he says they do it that way.
Yeah.
And I have a call into, I have a contact, on a friend of mine on council in Forest Hills. And he says he's gonna try to get his chief to give me a call. And he's gonna try to call me and see how they do it.
Right.
So
One question I have is the Civil Service Commission. How did they appoint theirs? Did they, these people? I mean, did they show some type of, I don't know, they had classes and all this stuff? Or do we need to talk to our civil service people and say, hey, are you guys willing to take these classes, this,
yeah, I guess we would have to
I
train
mean,
them.
I mean, that's just
We'd have to
something,
get them updated
you'd
and
have to say,
trained.
hey, are you willing to do this?
Yeah.
Because it's not what we're doing now.
I know.
And I'm not saying I'm against it.
Oh, I
I'm
know,
just
but
saying,
I'm saying, we're gonna
you know,
probably.
we're
we
gonna
have to
talk
get them
about doing this for the
trained.
next few months.
Yeah,
I think we should pull the civil service in and
yeah,
talk to them and say, hey, what's your thought process?
right,
Yeah, they're volunteers.
Don't just,
They
yeah,
keep
that's what I'm
willing
saying.
to do.
That's what I'm saying. Don't just tell them, hey, this is what has to be.
And we have to also ask, like, are they gonna put if we don't have police, we answer to them.
that's right.
Civil service isn't sitting up here. If this is gonna speed up the process, that's good. And if it's gonna hire reliable, dependable officers, that's good. But what if it doesn't? What if the process slows down?
I know, but
They're
at the
not gonna
same
be
time,
under fire.
we have to abide by the borough code, that's the thing.
I honestly only know personally one person on the there's 3 people on the Civil Service Commission, right? I only know one of them. I've never met the
I know
other 2
the
people.
So,
I
so
don't.
basically, we got some work
You
to
know
do.
Dawn?
I know Pat McCarthy. That's
Pat,
it.
Dawn and Mary?
Dom.
Dawn.
I know Dom.
Yeah.
But I've never met Mary. I heard who she is,
Yeah.
but I've never met her.
Have you sent Mary that information on that class?
I'm working on it. You have to show me, you said there's a click there, because I can only figure out, like, when I sent it to you, I just sent it, you downloaded it.
I just think it's something that we look into,
But
but
it's-
we need to talk to these folks and say, so, are you willing to take this training? If not, then we're gonna have to get 3 new people or 2 new people or whatever.
Yeah.
Are they gonna be available immediately?
Yeah,
You can't be getting an interview. Sorry. This is really hard to talk. You can't be taking an interview on Tuesday and then not interviewing them 2 weeks because they're not available.
Right.
We'll lose them. That's why we've been.
It's already taken.
Trying to get-
I agree.
Let's see what happens is. When they put it out, okay, they have to build the eligibility list. So this takes a little time, so they get on an eligibility list. So we build an eligibility list of officers, so they come in and we say, hey, we're testing on this date. And they come in and they do the background check and we test them right away.
It sounds like,
People come in
John,
and they test and they test and
it
they,
sounds like you did
Yeah.
some due diligence
Yeah.
to get started.
yeah, so they have
Maybe
to
we
come
should,
in and.
maybe we should get this to
Yeah.
the civil service people
Yeah.
and say,
Contact Mary tomorrow. She's the head of.
So
the-
basically, it's almost like the reverse of what we're doing. They come in,
that's.
they apply and they apply at the same time and they test. And they get scored. And then we decide whether we wanna hire them.
I understand, I'm just saying, I think
Yeah.
we need to start at the very beginning
Yeah,
and say, hey, procedures are gonna change.
yeah,
Or you, 3, 2, 1, or
right,
whatever, willing to put this extra little time in with doing some online classes and stuff.
yeah,
I think Dave the mayor getting a hold of Mary.
yeah,
You only actually need one person to go to that class. I mean, we sent the borough manager to go to it, but others did pick up on it, and that's fine. But so, and I talked to her about this and the class.
if you all want links to that PSAP thing, it's really good. You guys should,
Okay,
if
so
you
you're
get time
gonna
to
talk
watch it,
about, okay.
it's pretty good. That's all I have. My next meeting's gonna be, March 19th, 6 P M.
That's all I have, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, everybody, for all the good effort on the committee this month. Okay, we're gonna go to ordinary items. I'm gonna take a motion to accept the minutes for November 11th, 2024.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mr. Floda. Any questions?
Just as an FYI, minutes got missed. At the end of October,
Yeah.
minutes somehow got missed, so we're fixing that.
We're just a month ahead.
Yeah.
They're behind.
Well, yeah.
We'll catch them next month.
We'll catch it.
Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? Passed. Next up, we have action items. The garden club came to us, wants to use the borough building restrooms for their garden club plant sale on May 17th. So I'm gonna take a motion to approve the use of the borough building restrooms on Saturday, May 17th for the Verona Garden Club plant
I'll
sale.
make that motion.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter.
I have a question real quick.
Can we get a second first?
Second.
Second by, I didn't hear, I'm sorry. Second by Mrs. Provenza. Any questions?
Where are we at with cleaning of the building?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, right now, and that's doing it, we have one bid, and so we're working on getting a couple more, it's not.
Can we make sure that she has it done on the,
Well, can we ask her first?
Oh.
Since it's above and beyond.
Well,
He's great.
actually, we will have, if we will have somebody here by then.
Yeah, and that'll be off this week also, that, she's wanted for something.
That was my big concern is that nobody being able to clean.
Yeah, we are working on bids, I got waylaid, something else that need to be done, but we have one, and we got two more, so.
okay. Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? Passed. Thank you. Next up, we've been doing some research, we've been doing some interviews and everything, and we were able to finally agree to the one, new police, part-time police officer. So at this time, I'm gonna accept a motion to approve the hiring of Leo DeCesar as a part-time officer pending his background check and completion of the paperwork.
Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Flotas, second by Mr. Jamelis. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question, Mr. President. Where are we with the background check? Has he been? Yet?
Sergeant Frankos, can you answer that question?
Yeah, he's fine. He's good.
He's ready to go?
He's good?
Okay,
He has all his numbers and everything?
He's currently on Zoom.
What's that?
yeah,
Mr. DeCesar is right there.
He's on Zoom.
so we're ready to go, so as soon as it's approved,
So we don't get into the jackpot like we did with the last one.
so we'll,
So
I'll
we're
swear in this.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Thank you.
Leo, I'll get with you tomorrow, I'll call you.
Congratulations.
Congrats, Leo.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Welcome aboard, Leo. Okay. Next up is information and announcements. That will be Mrs. Provenza.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Newsletter. We're currently working on our summer newsletter, and that will cover June, July, and August. The ads and articles are going to be due Thursday, May the 1st. And for articles, you can reach Mr. Wharf at 412-828-3607 or at veronanewsroom@gmail.com. And for ads, I can be reached at 412-828-7726. Chamber of Commerce. Next meeting is going to be on Tuesday, March the 18th at 7 p.m. here in the Borough Building. And currently, we have some good news. Currently, well, first of all, I'm going to back up. We have a new president for Chamber of Commerce. I would like to congratulate Officer Thomas Dessel. Welcome aboard. I want you to represent well and do a great job. Thank you. Appreciate you, Officer Tom. Now, the good news. We are currently collecting money for brand new Christmas lights on ARB and some of the other streets. and already have $10,000 elected. And we need about 10,000 more. So if anybody would like to donate, it is available for donation. And also with that,
That is through the chamber.
yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. And also, we will have more information on the Easter egg hunt at the next meeting. Queenborough Ministries, the next community dinner is going to be tomorrow at 4:30 at Methodist Church, 4:30 to 6:30. Historical Society will be held on Thursday, March the 20th at 7 p.m. Dick Williams from the Oakland Historical Society will be the speaker, and the title is Small Town Memory, Norman Rockwell. And all are welcome. So feel free to come. These meetings are great. You'll enjoy them. And along the deadline for the sign up of the Spring Educational Conference at Seven Springs is on March 12th. So if you're interested in going, you will need to be our manager, Stephanie. Are there any questions or any comments? Not, that concludes my report, and I thank you.
Just as a reminder to chamber, Teresa asked about park rentals. So we get those all turned in, because then we can send them out. Well, because when they use Railroad Park and stuff like that, we need to know exact dates so we can make sure that they go on with the calendar.
You'll have to email like a car cruise and what have you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
so
we need the
that's
form
something
filled out and stuff like that.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent.
The Easter egg hunt.
This time we'll take comments from the public. Come to the podium or raise your virtual hand.
And make sure
Please limit your
you
comment to 2 minutes.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. So, my name is Annie Sedrakis. I live on Union Street. I want to extend from what Stephanie was saying earlier in the meeting about job shadowing. I think that's an absolutely splendid idea. And I would like to offer my opinion on job shadowing for Giant Eagle. As you all know, my job there is front-end manager. Everything from the carts and floral all the way down to pharmacy is mine. And everybody who walks through that front end is my responsibility. The cashiers are mine. I would like to suggest, Mayor Dave, it's up to you. If you would like to choose some of your council members to shadow me, let me know ahead of time, and I'll have George Sears okay it, our general manager. The public are so important. We wouldn't be Giant Eagle if we didn't have the community that we have. And we're really, really proud of the people that we do have. And John, I've got to tell you, the people that you met when you were there absolutely loved you. Because you shook their hands and you spoke to them kindly and you were interested in them. Dave, when you come through checkout, we have such a ball. We have such a good time and the cashiers just love you. Sylvia, those kids adore you. My teenagers, my cashiers, they adore you. So going along with that comment, what Kelly said, it's not about one person. It's about all of us getting together and serving the public and taking care of our community. And we do that really well at Giant Eagle. And it's not because we're part of corporate, it's because we are an independent franchise of corporate. We fly their flag, but we're family. And that's what's missing. And so I would like to suggest, Dave,
and you and I are gonna get together and talk about this, and I'm gonna hold you to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I would like you to choose, just maybe 2 at a time. Let's have them shadow me
Yeah,
and see what I do on a daily basis.
that would be very interesting. I'm gonna take you up on that, but there's only one thing. We ain't gonna be able to keep up with you. I
That's
see you down there.
That's true, I do, I gallop here and I gallop there, but you know what? I wanna be with the people.
Yes, you
And
do.
it's with the people that we get that sense of joy, that sense of belonging to something greater than ourselves, right, Kelly?
Right.
So we need to be able to distinguish between ego and community. And I'm more than willing to help out with that. So you let me know, and you and I are going to get together, and I'm going to hold you to it.
Yes.
Okay. And we're going to work on this group being able to, like you said, John, deliver to the public, be part of the people, do what we're meant to be doing and be the community we are. And you are amazing saying that. I'm so pleased to hear that coming from the bench. Thank you for saying it. Trish, you are amazing because I kept my eye on you and you were watching virtual, and good job. I was really proud of seeing that too. Anyway, moving right along, on the 3rd of March, Giant Eagle is going to host a Read Across America event. We are linking up with Riverview School District, and we have had some help from some wonderful people. I want to start with the leaders of our Riverview School District, and I know I'm going to go over 3 minutes, and I do apologise, but this is important because it's Read Across America, and children are important, right? And we have got now the special education kids coming down from Verna, and they're going to be bussed in from 10th Street, and I'm going to dress up as I do. And we've been blessed with having Officer Tom in his spare time help me put this together, and Sandy in her spare time putting this together, because I know they're busy and they've got other lives to live when they're not doing their professional duties. So they were able to give us some of that time to put forward. The school district is beyond excited. Our bakery is going to make green egg cookies. We're going to have thematic units so that when the children are shown around the store, it is all based on Dr. Seuss and Read Across America, because literacy is very important. We need to be able to speak correctly to each other. Again, reflecting on what you said, John. Well done. You must have foreshadowed what I was going to say. So if you do have a chance, please pop in. Everybody will be there at 10 o'clock on Monday, the 3rd of March.
So like this coming Monday?
This coming Monday, yes. Monday, the 3rd of March. And that is how community works. Riverview School District and Giant Eagle, the 2 biggest community
What time?
strengths,
10 a.m.
10 a.m. till 11, the 2 biggest community strengths are going to work hand in hand. And it's going to happen in Verona. And we're going to be proud of being in Verona. So I look forward to seeing you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go to Leanne now. She's been waiting all meeting.
She just needs to unmute.
Leanne, you out there? You need to unmute.
I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry we missed you earlier.
That's okay. I have a couple Sorry I couldn't be there in person. I'm moving, so we're trying to get the house in order. I have a couple of things that I want to touch on. First, and this is no personal attack, but Stephanie, you brought up your job descriptions and thought that it was important to bring it up. Am I correct that also includes responding to emails, phone calls, and request forms? Because in my experience, just over the last 3 months, you haven't responded to one email or form. Hold on, I gave her a form at the meeting last week that was supposed to be filled out and responded to within 5 working days. It still isn't. So she brought up her job description, so I was just asking if that was part of it. Second off, the public speaking. Why is everything so hush hush now?
Leanne, we're having a hard time understanding you. You're echoing. Do you have something on the?
Maybe on the speaker.
Are you on speakerphone or something, Leanne? Can anybody
No,
out
hold
there
on.
understand?
Okay, hold on a second. Let me move where I'm at.
I'm with Craig right now.
Well,
I think that's what she was asking, just the status.
I just wouldn't understand.
Let me know.
Yeah, I will check it, Craig. He
Hold
said
on, let's
he
listen,
can't.
Leanne, let's go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better.
Much better.
Okay. So did you hear anything that I said?
No.
Okay. So my first thing is to Stephanie, since you brought up your job descriptions, am I correct to assume that that includes responding to emails, phone calls, and request forms?
Yes, and you handed me the right to know request, which went to Craig. I am sorry that he did not respond, and I will be contacting him tomorrow to find out why.
Okay, second off, it's just crazy to me because every time I bring up that someone didn't do what they were supposed to do, you being the right to know officer, it's always blamed on somebody else. Anyway,
I can,
public speaking.
I gave the information to Craig that fulfilled the right to know that you requested. He stated he would send it to you because he wanted to speak with you. And that's how it ended up there. I can send you the paperwork that I gave to Craig. Again, what I can tell you though is he asked me to give it to him, he picked it up, and I did not realize he did not answer you.
You passed it to him during the meeting, but anyway. Public speaking. Why is everything so hush hush? And who do we go to when the person that we're supposed to talk to or that is appointed in that position, when we don't get a response? What do we do then?
Public speaking, if you're talking about the letter that I read earlier, we're trying to just curtail and not blast somebody individually, whether it be me, any one of us, not 8 up here or however many. We're working on a policy, so we try to keep it civil. Like I said, if you want to have a meeting with somebody, we'll be happy to schedule a meeting and sit down and go over what you want. Everybody here has said, contact them, email them, and they'll get back to you.
That's not happening though.
There's no hush hush. You know, we're just trying to keep it a good quorum.
Okay, but how it looks to the public is these are public meetings and we're not even allowed to voice our concerns there. And just through this meeting alone, there have been conflicts about adding another meeting. So do you really think that somebody is going to take the time to sit down personally with us when we have issues? And why can't it be known to everybody? In my experience, since I came to that last meeting, since I came to that last meeting, I have had many, many people reach out to me, people that I don't even know, that have asked, hey, can you say this for me? Can you say this for me? Because they are afraid of retaliation. So if we can't bring it up publicly, why does everything have to be so private?
First of all, you can bring anything you want up publicly. We're just asking that nobody slam somebody else by name in a public meeting. Second of all, when we talked about the super committee structure meeting, this is what workshops are for, to try to figure out how to do this. We're trying to figure out we can't talk in private because of the sunshine law. We can't sit down with 5 of us because of the sunshine law. So we're trying to figure out what we can do to do the super committee meeting, so it works for everybody. And anybody's invited to, like every other committee meeting, the public is invited to it. We're just trying to figure out the best way for it, Leanne. I think you're putting a cart before the horse that you can't come to the meeting. We're not saying that. Everybody has they're allowed to have
They did just say
comments.
that they don't want to add another meeting. It was just said in this meeting that you guys are having right now. It was just said that they don't want to add another meeting.
No, that's not what was said.
That is what was said, that they do not want to add another meeting.
They were trying to.
Just clarify that we weren't gonna add another meeting, we were going to add another meeting, but get rid of 6 meetings when we add another meeting.
We're not saying we don't want to do what we have to do. We're trying to make it more, I don't know the word I want to use. More consolidated, streamlined. Nobody's saying nobody can't talk, and nobody's saying that we're trying to hush everything. Everything we do is out in the public.
Yeah, I just wanna.
But it's not. When
clarify
you
that-
tell us in the beginning that we can't talk about certain things, that is hushing us.
No one actually said you can't talk about certain things. They said that you cannot specify one member of the dais.
You're supposed to address council as a whole, Greg has said that for 10 years.
And also, we wanna keep this solution based and not focusing on attacking anyone for perceived performance issues when there's a more professional way of handling it. And to reiterate, I think I speak for everyone, when any one of us would be happy to meet with any member of the public, especially if you've already tried to meet with someone and your issue has not been addressed, you can hold me to that.
Can I just say, I'm sorry, can we have that down?
No,
Just because we can't
no.
see you, like, we can only hear
That's
your
very
voice.
unprofessional.
It's
Can you
not
hear?
professional.
You didn't talk the whole time though, you couldn't have a voice, down.
Easy. Leanne has the floor right now.
Joke.
It's not a joke.
I do
No,
have
he's
some more.
She's out of order, you can have her removed.
I would actually remove myself, that would be actually quite fun.
I'm just saying, look.
I'm just saying,
We're trying to keep it decorum here, and Leanne has some concerns, and we're trying to help rectify them.
Well, that's not helping rectify, is it?
I can't answer for another
you're
conference.
the president.
People are still out.
Thank you.
You're-
Now
You don't have anything to say ever, you're the pathetic one, bro. Step down.
Yeah, I would, people were way out of order, right? And I just read what Trish had proposed and what you had proposed, and they get a warning, and if they don't be quiet, you can ask the police to remove them from the building. That's the law. Like, we're trying, let's talk about the law.
Okay, let's go back to Leanne. Leanne, you have anything else?
Yes, I do. Speaking a little bit more about what Trish brought up about the new committees, is there a way that we can have a Verona resident who is voted on that can bring up public concerns? There's been a lot of people that have reached out to me personally saying that like they have concerns about retaliation and things. Can we have this person meet with council, however, or meet with the citizens, however it's easiest, and then that one person meets with council so that their concerns can be added to the agenda, and actually have a say about what happens in the community they live in.
We can meet with up to 3 people. No more because of the sunshine law. If somebody wants to meet with us, send us an email, then we'll try to set something up.
I think she's also asking if they could be put on the agenda as a public group. And I would think that we could add that type of thing to the registered comments.
for any.
Anybody can ask to be on the agenda
Yeah,
for
Right.
public comment,
well, I,
or, yes, registered comment. It's right in front. Anybody can do that. Read the agenda, everybody can do that.
Leanne, you're welcome to any committee meeting throughout the month that occurs. You're welcome to join us either in person or in Zoom. You know, you're more than welcome to come in and talk to us for anything. You know, any
understand all
topic.
that. What I'm saying is you were bringing up new committee ideas. Is there a way that we can have one person from the community that can meet? Like, I can't take it on. I'm too sick to be there all the time, just as a whole. Is there one person that can meet whenever, however, if they meet on Zoom, if they meet at the park, if they meet at the borough building, and have all the citizens bring their concerns up? So that way it can be added to the agenda. Nobody is hit with any surprises. Nobody's being attacked at the meeting. And that one person can talk to council and say, hey, this is a concern, this is a concern. Can we bring this up? Can we bring this up? It's going to make a lot of cooler heads. It's going to stop all this bickering back and forth, because that goes into my next thing that Mr. Jamelis brought up. And I want to say I appreciate you looking into the team building exercise, because quite frankly, most of us residents have lost faith in our voted council. We aren't being heard. We can see and hear you guys arguing among yourself. How can you guys expect us to believe in you guys if you guys can't even get along or agree on anything?
Well, I mean, look, it's all part of government. You go to any council meeting across the land. You know, you're gonna find council members always arguing about something. It's not like,
Council members aren't supposed to agree.
Well,
I've
it's-
been
yeah,
put here by different
it's
people.
part for the course, it's politics. But, you know, as far as a functioning body, I mean, I would say we're still a functioning body. We're still able to make things work.
The fact that we
but,
don't
you
agree
know.
is the system of checks and balances
Yeah.
that everybody talks about.
I mean, but, you know, we're still working on it. You know, we're trying to improve our processes. You know, I would say if we were to look at how far we've come along in the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, I think we've probably made a lot of progress. I think a lot of people
And
here would agree.
I'm not discounting that. And I'm not saying that everybody has to agree on everything, because that would be boring. That there would be no point to even have a council. What I'm saying is you guys are asking us to have faith in you and to just follow what you guys are doing. But when you guys are arguing and screaming at each other, how are we supposed
understand.
to act for that?
You're right. We need, and look, you're right. I've talked about this. We need to have more decorum. You know, we need to have a decorum policy. And, you know, I've discussed this before, and I think we need to calm down, especially here, as public officials. We need to set an example for everybody else. And, you know, so I think, you know, I know you're right. I mean, if you guys want to have faith in us, we gotta kind of act apart ourselves. So I know, I get it. So
Leanne, I want to address your other concern about meeting with, I mean, not only council, but having the community be able to meet with officials, whether it be council or the police or even DPW. We've had a couple of public meetings, public safety meeting, when was that, in the fall, Mayor, October 7th?
Yeah, there'll be another one in April.
Yeah, so there are public forums that are not a council meeting. So I'd like to put that out there as a possibility. And I'd like to further explore your idea of what you're talking about. Maybe I can, or any one of us can get in touch with you offline and talk about that some more.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anybody else?
Sure.
Sherry?
I'll save my complaint for another day. This is Sherry, Boulevard 759 East Railroad. First of all, I want to say you have a beautiful mesmerizing accent. Thank you. I like to curtsy you. I would want to invite you to come to the chamber meeting and we can use somebody like you in the chamber.
Well, thank you. I'd like to invite you to come to Giant Eagle and.
I'm going to send my 14-year-old.
That'd be great.
So I want to piggyback on what Sophia said. I have served on the chamber board and exec board for the past 2 years. And we did have an election. We have new leadership. Before I address that, I just want to say, Stephanie from Eda's took over as a president for two years. And for business district, it's right after the pandemic. So it is very difficult for any business to step up and volunteer their time, try to get things done. So for that, she's not here, but I think we should all thank her for putting herself out there, especially with 3 kids. It's very difficult. She did the best she could, and I think she did, pretty much what, she kept the chamber going, she kept the activity from the chamber going for the past 2 years. We are very excited for the new leadership. It's very unusual because Verona is such a small town. So the council, the police, and now the chamber is quite integrated. And what we really need with the new leadership, and I know Tom has already gotten 10,000 for the Christmas lights and getting new membership. And what we also really need is the residents of Verona to come support the chamber, because without you guys, there will be no chamber. And, we're struggling to keep the chamber together. Now I think we're gonna have a really great leadership in the exec board. And I just want to invite everybody. We've gained new member already at the end of the chamber. We want to invite more residents to come to the chamber meeting, offer new ideas and volunteer on all the activities we do. So thank you very much, Sylvia. And thank you, Tom, for step up and serve. And big thank you for Stephanie for leading us for 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry. Anybody else?
My name is Jeff Mason. I'm at 306 South Ave. First, I want to welcome Leo to the borough. I want to thank everybody on council, everybody in the public safety committee, and the officers. I didn't get run over on Allegheny River Boulevard today. I've seen them out being present, looking at cars. There was somebody out there the other night sitting in Avis in the parking lot. So I think it's great. The presence is there. So I think people are starting to get the memo. But like we said earlier in the public safety committee meetings, presence is key. We can send an unmarked unit out there, but if people actually see the red and blue lights and they see a marked car, it makes a big difference. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to fix, things aren't going to fix overnight. There's solutions to look into, but I'd just like to thank everybody in this room that contributed to that so far. Thank you.
Sorry. Can I just put one more thing? Sorry. I just want to say, farmer's market, Patty from the Pink Claws place is taking over the farmer's market along, I think, Rhoda, you're helping. So we also need a thriving farmer's market. So if you guys know any vendors, please contact Patty or Rhoda, right? Yes. Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else? I don't see any hands. This moment, I'll take the motion to adjourn, and we do not have to go to tonight. Motion by Mr. Second by Mr. Ellis. Any questions? All in favor?
Third Tuesday.